Greetings from Las Vegas, everybody. I'm Andy Iska with our weekly review of the major handicapping contests here in Las Vegas. We cover 3 properties, a total of 5 contests each week. The one we begin with is just a brief review of where the leaders are as far as that's concerned. It's the Golden Nugget Ultimate Football Challenge. And the reason we report on that one is that's the main contest that has both college and pro football. Most of the other contests in town and the others I'll be reporting on are NFL only. The Golden Nugget for a number of years has combined college and pro football, where the contestants make 7 selections per week against a static point spread that is released about 2 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday afternoons. You make 7 selections. You can use all college, all pro, or a mixture. Now, it's interesting for this contest because it's the one contest, as I mentioned, that's usually available or that's widely available for college. Therefore, a lot of the selections involve college football, and I wouldn't say it's a stretch to say of the average ticket, it's probably 5 college and 2 NFL, if that, as far as the NFL goes. Anyway, there were 153 contestants in the contest this year, and the leaderboard shows one leader in front with a record of 52, 29, and 1. That's a point for a point spread cover, half a point for a point spread push, and no points for a point spread loss. So that's 52 and a half out of a possible 84 points for 84 selections over the first 12 weeks of the season. Good for a leading percentage of 62.5%. And as I've pointed out in recent weeks, over recent years, that percentage has been much higher, but there's been a lot of struggles and inconsistency amongst the sharps in college football this season, which explains why the leaders, and I'll put this in quotes, only 62.5%. That's very good on by any measure of point spread success. Of the 153, only 10 contestants or 10 entries are hitting at 60% or better, and those 10 entries represent 6.5% of the field of 153. Now we will take a look at the NFL only contest. There are 2 sponsored by the Westgate Superbook, formerly the Hilton for many years, which originated the contest, and 2 by the Circa Race and Sportsbook. We begin with the high-end Super Contest Gold. This is a winner-take-all contest that carries an entry fee of $5,000. This year there were 92 entries, meaning it's a winner-take-all prize pool of $460,000. Now, each week for this and the following 2 contests, I report on the consensus, which is the 5 most popular selections each week against a static point spread. For the Westgate and the Westgate Classic, which comes up next after this one, the Westgate Gold and the Westgate Contest, and for that matter, the Westgate Reboot, these are similar lines, 5 picks a week against the NFL point spread. These point spreads are released by the Westgate roughly 5 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays. Looking at the consensus heading into this past week, it was 32, 21, and 2 in the Super Contest Gold. This past week, the consensus went 4 and 1. I'll give details in a moment. So for the season, through the first 12 weeks, these high-end contestants in the winner-take-all contest, the consensus of the 92 is 36, 22, and 2. That's 37 of a possible 60 points. That's 61.7%. That's outstanding, even for the small field of 92, for representing the 5 most popular picks. I mentioned they were 4 and 1 this past week. The one losing selection was actually the most popular selection in the Super Contest Gold, and that was the New England Patriots laying 3 points to the New York Giants in a game that they lost outright. The 4 winning selections were the number 2, 3, 4, and 5 most popular: the Rams, the Bears, the Browns, and not the Browns, the Broncos, who defeated the Browns, and the Jaguars. That's Rams, Bears, Broncos, and Jaguars. There's one leader in this winner-take-all contest. He actually has a 2.5-point lead over the rest of the field. His record, 42, I should say his or her record, the leading contestant, 42, 17, and 1. That's 42.5 out of a possible 60 points, equating to a success rate of 70.8%. Of the 92 contestants in the Super Contest Gold, 10 are at 60% or more, and that represents 10.9% of the original field of contestants. Turning now to what had been the most popular handicapping contest in the nation, if not worldwide, for many years, the Super Contest Gold, since supplanted by the one of the contests I'll mention in a moment when we get to Circa. This year's contest attracted 1,301 entries. And once again, we'll look at the consensus, the top 5 players amongst the 1,301 entries. Coming into the week, 30, 22, and 3. This week, 3 and 2 for a season to date record of 33, 24, and 3. That works out to 34.5 of a possible 60 points. And that's good enough for a 57.5% success rate. Very good for the consensus. Not as good as the Super Contest Gold, but still, you'd make money if you played the 5 consensus plays each week for the Super Contest Golds. And that's something for many, for the Super Contest Classic. And that's something you really couldn't say for many years, where the consensus struggled to reach even 500 for quite a number of years. So the overall fields in the last 10, 12 years have gotten much sharper in the Super Contest Classic. The 3 winning selections last week: the Rams, the number 1 selection; the Jaguars, the number 4 selection; and the Steelers, the number 5 selection. The 2 losing selections: the Chargers and the Patriots. One leader in the contest by himself or herself, 43, 17, and 0. That's 43 of a possible 60 points. 71.7%. That's a very good percentage for a contest leader 2/3 of the way through the season. Of the 1,301, it's almost exactly 10% of the field hitting 60% or more. 130 of the 1,301 hitting at 60%. And that 10% is a very nice percentage to be hitting at such a high rate. That's an average of 3 and 2 every week to go 60%. Now we turn to the 2 contests sponsored by the Circa. The Circa Millions is in its 5th year since coming into play in 2019, and this year attracted a record field of 5,274 entries, which is a lot, but not enough to cover the $6 million guarantee put up by the Circa management for this contest. They needed 6,000 entries to break even, but they fell 726 entries short. So the Circa has contributed $726,000 to the prize pool, making it an overlay for the 5,200 plus contestants. The consensus on the year, after going 4-1 this past week: 32, 25, and 3. That's a record of 33.5 of 60 points, 55.8%. Again, a very nice record for the 5 most popular selections. This week, the 4 winning selections were the top selection, the Buffalo Bills. The contest line against Philadelphia, unlike the Westgate, which had Philadelphia 3-point favorite, 3.5 was the line. The Eagles 3.5-point favorites in the Circa Millions contest. Those lines, by the way, whereas the Westgate releases their lines Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, the Circa releases their lines Thursday morning around 10 a.m. Pacific, thus a half-point difference based upon actual betting action in the intervening period for the explanation. Buffalo, again, plus 3.5, the winning selection, the number 1 most popular selection. Also the number 2 selection, Steelers; the number 3, Rams; number 5, Ravens. The lone losing selection, the Houston Texans, who were in their game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, plus 2 at home. And of course, they lost the game outright as the potential game tying kick for overtime hit the crossbar at the end of regulation. One leader in the contest, and that entry is 53, 15, and 2. That's 44 of the possible 60 points. Good enough for a 73.3% winning percentage. 551 of the 5,274 entries are at 60% or higher, working out to 10.5% of the total field of entries. Now we get to the 5th and final contest for review, and this has become the most popular contest, not just in the United States, but following worldwide. In fact, quite a number of entrants from foreign countries have made the trip to Las Vegas to enter the contest. $1,000 entry fee. You pick one team a week. All that team has to do is win straight up, no point spread involved, and you advance and that entry advances to the following week. If that entry loses or ties in a given week, its entry is lost for the season. That's it. You can only pick a team once, and there are 2. The NFL season is 18 weeks. The contest season consists of 20 weeks, as both Thanksgiving week and Christmas week are divided into 2 separate segments. So, for example, on Thanksgiving week this past weekend, Week 12 in the NFL was weeks 12 and 13 for the contest, designated by most as weeks 12A and 12B. The 12A, the first part of Thanksgiving week, consisted of the 3 games on Thursday and the 1 game on Friday, Black Friday, between Miami and the Jets. Contestants alive into the week had to pick one of those 8 teams that were in action. If they won, they advanced to the 12 games that were played Sunday and Monday, which comprised week 12B. Now, on the graphic, it shows the overall results. We start with the 9,267 entries at the start of the season. 88.95, 96% of the original field had been eliminated prior to this past week, meaning that coming into the Thursday, Friday portion of the Survivor contest, 372 entries of the 9,267 remained alive. There were only 8 teams to choose from, and of the 372 contestants who were alive into this first part of Thanksgiving week, 216 were eliminated, with the Detroit Lions losing outright at home to Green Bay. The other 2 teams that were eliminated, 5 contestants had the Jets, who lost to Miami on Friday, and 1 contestant had the Seahawks, who lost at home to San Francisco on Thursday evening. That left a total of 149 contestants remaining, which was 1.6% of the original field. The imputed value of those 149 live tickets following Thursday's games, $62,195, computed by dividing the $9,267,000 prize pool by those 149 entries. So those 149 advanced to the second part, week 12B, if you will, contest week 13, which consisted of the Sunday, Monday games. And of those 149 live entries, 69 were eliminated. 36 were eliminated when the Patriots lost outright on the road as favorites at the New York Giants. 32 were eliminated Monday night when the Vikings lost at home to the Chicago Bears, and 1 contestant lost on Sunday night when the Chargers fell at home to the Baltimore Ravens. So now just 80 contestants remain alive, competing for that winner-take-all $9,267,000 prize pool. Now, this is a record field. The first 3 years of the contest, 2020, 21, and 22, saw the prizes split. It went from, I think, 35 contestants splitting the prize pool in 2020 down to, I believe it was 5 in 2021, and I believe it came down to either 2 or 3 last year. So right now, we might see the contest end before the full 20 contest weeks are completed. As a result, the imputed value of those 80 remaining entries, $115,838, meaning that if they all went perfect the rest of the season and 80 contestants split up that $9.267 million, they'd each get over almost $116,000. So that's the big contest. Now, for more information on each of these 5 contests, there's a tutorial that you can link to at the bottom of this video in the information section. There you can find information on what the weekly selections are, the rules of the contest, how you can view all these selections of not just the individual contestants, but the ones that we report on, how popular each team was for the 2 contests at the Westgate, the Circa Millions, and you'll also be able to see the number of selections on each team in the Survivor contest. The Golden Nugget doesn't provide the breakdowns for the contest because of the great number of teams that are involved, so it wouldn't be very meaningful to report that the most popular team had 23 of 153 contestants on it. So you can check out that for the Golden Nugget rules, as well as check the leaderboards, which usually come out for most of these contests around mid to late afternoon, say 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays. And so with that, we complete our wrap-up for Week 12 of the NFL season, the 2/3 point of the 2023 season. Back next week with a recap of what happens in Week 13.